Hi, my name's Colin Fox. I'm a Brisbane-based financial planner. This video is about whether you should start an account-based pension if you're 65 or over and still working. So we follow a client scenario of mine. A client, John, and I met. He had a good balance, 700,000 in super. He was retiring in 3 years. He knew a bit about account-based pensions, but he didn't want to take one out. He didn't want to pull money out of super as he felt that would erode his retirement wealth and be tax consequences as well. So we looked at the pros and cons of an account-based pension while still working, and look, he didn't need the income, so it wasn't around funding any lifestyle. But we looked at what are the tax benefits of an account-based pension. So in an account-based pension, if you're aged over 60, the earnings within are 100% tax-free. So for him, if he's 700,000 earns 7%, that's 49,000 or so. The tax on that at 15% is about $7,300 in that example. So I've got a full article on the website, so you can look at the maths and the other details there. But for him, it was 7,300. So essentially, it was the question of, do you turn that tax off within your wealth? So he was keen. He was starting to get interested in that strategy, but he was concerned about the money coming out. So I don't need the money. I'm still working. I'm worried about that. So rightly so, if it comes out and you spend it, which naturally happens, right? If you see money in the bank account, we're great at finding creative reasons to spend it unless there's a purpose for it. And so for John, it was retiring at 68 and having the lifestyle he wanted. So the 35,000 that came out, so there are minimums. It's 5% if you're age 65 to 74. And then it changes as you get older. So he was right. You do have to draw out of that pension account. So the 35,000, we said, well, what do we do with it strategically? He had about 15,500 of concessional contribution space. So he could put in 15,500 or so into super and claim that as a tax deduction. So that was part of the thinking, put that in to claim that as a tax deduction, and that would save him about 2,600 in personal tax once you account for that concessional contributions tax. So now we're looking at the true figures behind it, the benefit, right? It's about 10,000 per year. So the account-based pension saves you 7,300, tax savings 2,600, so it's about 10,000 per year. So the conversation then is, John, do you want to do that? It's 10,000 per year or 30,000 over 3 years up to retirement. So ultimately, he was keen for that. We couldn't get it all in under concessional contributions, so we looked at non-concessionals. Look, you can put in 120,000 per year in personal or non-concessional contributions. So he said, look, that'll form part of it as well. So John was keen. We set the pension up for him, and the next aspect was, well, where's it invested? So you've got to be comfortable with it. We've got to look at long-term financial modelling, make sure you can actually sustain your lifestyle in retirement that you want. So good planning covers these things, like, yes, set up the account-based pension, of course, manage the money that comes out, of course, but at 68, what does it look like? Can he retire? Can he fund his lifestyle until he's 100 or whenever that target might be? So we did financial modelling. John was on track pretty well. We factored in other things. So it's really important to get the investments right, not just for the short term, but the longer term. So what I do with someone in John's position is look at what are the short-term needs coming up? Is it caravan? Is it a car? Is it a boat? Is it a massive holiday at 68? And how do we fund those? So ideally, you don't fund them from, say, growth investment. So if you've got just a default super fund, if it's balanced or growth, if you hit retirement and then you spend 100,000 on lifestyle, 50,000 on a boat, 50,000 on a caravan, you spend 200,000, and if markets are rough at that time, you need to sell a huge amount of assets to fund that 200,000. So asset pooling is the structure that I use. essentially you're connecting the assets you've got with the needs that you have. So for those shorter term lifestyle needs, it's important that they're invested in good quality defensive assets. So not something that's volatile. So if you go to pull it out and John calls me and says I'm ready for my holiday, if it's in something aggressive, right, and markets have come off 20% or 30%, then he's got that concern of, do I go on holidays now or do I wait for markets to recover? So asset pooling, having a good structured investment in place, just reduces that worry. You've got the assets. When you're ready to buy your caravan or your boat, the money's there. So, yeah, John was really happy. We set up the account-based pension with a view to a 3-year time frame. We set up the investments as well with a view to his personal goals. And then the other growth assets, we ensure they're good quality growth assets that are approved and well researched. So, look, if anything within this video appeals to you, or you'd like to know more or catch up with me for consultation, just reach out to me in the link below. Thanks and bye for now.